You got talking in California about small-town Pennsylvanians who have had tough economic times in recent years, and you said they get bitter, and they cling to guns, or they cling to their religion, or they cling to antipathy toward people who are not like them. Now, you said you misspoke. You said you mangled what it was you wanted to say. But we've talked to a lot of voters. Do you understand that some people in this state find that patronizing and think that you said actually what you meant?
Well, I think there's no doubt that I can see how people were offended. It's not the first time that I've made a statement that was mangled up. It's not going to be the last. But let me be very clear about what I meant, because it's something that I've said in public. It's something that I've said on television, which is that people are going through very difficult times right now. And we are seeing it all across the country, and that was true even before the current economic hardships that are stemming from the housing crisis. This is the first economic expansion that we just completed in which ordinary people's incomes actually went down when adjusted for inflation, at the same time as their costs of everything from health care to gas at the pump have skyrocketed. And so the point I was making was that when people feel like Washington's not listening to them, when they're promised year after year, decade after decade, that their economic situation is going to change, and it doesn't, then politically they end up focusing on those things that are constant, like religion. They end up feeling this is a place where I can find some refuge. This is something that I can count on. They end up being much more concerned about votes around things like guns, where traditions have been passed on from generation to generation, and those are incredibly important to them. And yes, what is also true is that wedge issues, hot button issues, end up taking prominence in our politics. And part of the problem is that when those issues are exploited, we never get to solve the issues that people really have to get some relief on, whether it's health care or education or jobs. So this is something that I've said before. It is something that I will repeat again. And yes, people are frustrated and angry about it, but what we're seeing in this election is the opportunity to break through that frustration. And that's what our campaign has been about, saying that if the American people get involved and engaged, then we are going to start seeing change, and that's what makes this election unique.
Senator Clinton.
Well, I am the granddaughter of a factory worker from Scranton who went to work in the Scranton Lace Mills when he was 11 years old, worked his entire life there, mostly 6-day weeks. He was also very active in the Court Street Methodist Church, and he raised 3 sons and was very proud that he sent all of them to college. I don't believe that my grandfather or my father or the many people whom I have had the privilege of knowing and meeting across Pennsylvania over many years cling to religion when Washington is not listening to them. I think that is a fundamental sort of misunderstanding of the role of religion and faith in times that are good and times that are bad. And I similarly don't think that people cling to their traditions like hunting and guns either when they are frustrated with the government. I just don't believe that's how people live their lives. Now, that doesn't mean that people are not frustrated with the government. We have every reason to be frustrated, particularly with this administration. But I can see why people would be taken aback and offended by the remarks. And I think what's important is that we all listen to one another and we respect one another. And we understand the different decisions that people make in life because we're a stronger country because of that. And certainly the weeks that I have spent crisscrossing Pennsylvania from Erie to Lancaster County and meeting a lot of wonderful people says to me that despite whatever frustration anyone has with our government, people are resilient, they are positive, and they're ready for leadership again that will summon them to something greater than themselves, and that we will deliver on that if given a chance.
We're going to have some other questions on the same theme, so you'll be able to get back to that.
Let me pick up on this. When these comments from Senator Obama broke on Friday, Senator McCain's campaign immediately said that it was going to be a killer issue in November. Senator Clinton, when Bill Richardson called you to say he was endorsing Barack Obama, you told him that Senator Obama can't win. I'm not going to ask you about that conversation. I know you don't want to talk about it, but a simple yes or no question. Do you think Senator Obama can beat John McCain or not?
Well, I think we have to beat John McCain, and I have every reason to believe we're going to have a Democratic president, and it's going to be either Barack or me, and we're going to make that happen. And what is important is that we understand exactly the challenges facing us in order to defeat Senator McCain. He will be a formidable candidate. There isn't any doubt about that. He has a great American story to tell. He's a man who has served our country with distinction over many years, but he has the wrong ideas about America. And those ideas will be tested in the cauldron of this campaign. But I also know, having now gone through 16 years of being on the receiving end of what the Republican Party dishes out, how important it is that we try to go after every single vote everywhere we possibly can to get to those electoral votes that we're going to need to have the next president elected.
But the question is, do you think Senator Obama can do that? Can he win?
Yes, yes, yes. Now, I think that I can do a better job. I mean, obviously, that's why I'm here. I think I am better able and better prepared in large measure because of what I've been through and the work that I've done and the results that I've produced for people and the coalition that I have put together in this campaign that Charlie referred to earlier. Obviously, I believe I would be the best president, or I would not still be here standing on this stage, and I believe I'm the better and stronger candidate against Senator McCain, to go toe-to-toe with him on national security and on how we turn the economy around.
Senator Obama, do you think Senator Clinton can win?
Absolutely, and I've said so before. But I, too, think that I'm the better candidate, and I don't think that surprises anybody. Let me just pick up on a couple of things that Senator Clinton said, though, because during the course of the last few days, she's said I'm elitist, out of touch, condescending. Let me be absolutely clear. It'd be pretty hard for me to be condescending towards people of faith, since I'm a person of faith and have done more than most other campaigns in reaching out specifically to people of faith, and have written about how Democrats make an error when they don't show up and speak directly to people's faith, because I think we can get those votes, and I have in the past. The same is true with respect to gun owners. I have large numbers of sportsmen and gun owners in my home state, and they have supported me precisely because I have listened to them, and I know them well. So the problem that we have in our politics, which is fairly typical, is that you take one person's statement, if it's not properly phrased, and you just beat it to death. And that's what Senator Clinton's been doing over the last 4 days. And I understand that. That's politics, and I expect to have to go through this process. But I do think it's important to recognize that it's not helping that person who's sitting at the kitchen table, who is trying to figure out how to pay the bills at the end of the month. And Senator Clinton's right. She has gone through this. I recall when, back in 1992, when she made a statement about how, what do you expect, should I be at home baking cookies? And people attacked her for being elitist and this and that. And I remember watching that on TV and saying, well, that's not who she is. That's not what she believes. That's not what she meant. And I'm sure that that's how she felt as well. But the problem is that that's the kind of politics that we've been accustomed to, and I think Senator Clinton learned the wrong lesson from it, because she's adopting the same tactics. What the American people want are not distractions. They want to figure out, how are we actually going to deliver on health care? How are we going to deliver better jobs for people? How are we going to improve their incomes? How are we going to send them to college? That's what we have to focus on. And yes, they are in part frustrated and angry, because this is what passes for our politics instead of figuring out how do we build coalitions to actually move things forward.
Senator Clinton, before we move on, do you want to do a brief response?
I do. Well, first of all, I want to be very clear. My comments were about your remarks, and